Welcome everybody. We're going to start our presentation. Glad you're here. This is a fun one. We're going to be looking at doing a new employee onboarding system in SharePoint. So let's begin. Okay, so I just want to start by doing some intros. My name is Will Cooper. I do all things SharePoint, and I love to do it. I have my own YouTube channel, SharePoint Smart, and those are free learning videos. I welcome you to check those out, subscribe if you like the content. And I use Ultimate Forms tools in just about every kind of solution that I build. So I really love those, and I really love to share those with the community, and that's what we're doing today. And I live here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. A little bit about Infowise and our team. We like to make it simple, we like to make it easy, and we always want to keep improving. We're always looking to add more features and make things even better with our tools and make it better for our customers. The Ultimate Forms product, it's a full platform to build solutions, which you can add into SharePoint. And it is completely inside of the SharePoint user interface. You don't have to go outside of the platform or install anything outside of SharePoint. And it lets you build solutions without any programming. You do not have to write any code. You do not have to do anything technical like that. It's all through easy configuration and settings. At the end of our presentation today, we are going to give away a nice embroidered polo shirt. Hope you'll stick around for that. You do need to be in the United States in order to be eligible for the shirt drawing. So just a note on that, that's just because of the postage costs and that type of thing. A little bit of ground rules. If you have questions, we want to hear them. We want your feedback. We want to interact with you. Can't do that through the audio. We've got too many people. But you can interact with us by using the questions interface and go to webinar. So I certainly hope you'll do that. We do have staff and team members on to help answer questions. And also after the presentation ends, we'll stay to answer some of those. So please be patient and we'll do our very best to help you out. And then after the presentation today, we're going to upload a recording and have that available for you on YouTube. So if there's anything that you missed or you want to replay any of this content, it's going to be available to you on YouTube later today. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so this is a silly slide just to kind of give you my feelings about out-of-the-box SharePoint. I love SharePoint. It's a great platform, lots of opportunities. You can build all kinds of different solutions. However, there are challenges with that. It doesn't include everything you need. It doesn't include the tools you need to build things out. And so that is the reason for this slide. You can get frustrated with some of the things that aren't there that you want if you just have a regular plain vanilla SharePoint environment. So adding Ultimate Forms really goes a long way to solve those challenges. All right, our product is available both for SharePoint Online as part of Microsoft 365 or for on-premise SharePoint, and all the tools and capabilities that I'll show today are included in that. Let's talk a little bit more specifically now about onboarding, which is the topic of our presentation today, and we'll talk about kind of the big picture for that. And in general, what we're thinking about are tasks. We're thinking about all of the things that we want our new employee to do as they're coming on board, and all the things that our staff, our current employees, need to do for them to bring them on board and get them all set. And as we all know, there are many, many things that need to get done. On the whole, an onboarding system is a task management system. So we want it to do that very well. Here are some goals that we would want for a good onboarding system. We want to have centralized access, meaning everybody can get to a centralized area to work on this onboarding process. We want the task management to be easy. We want it to be a simple concept, things that people can get into without having to do any special training or need any special explanation. So we want it easy to understand. We want to have nice and simple dashboards that we can browse to manage those tasks. And then we also want to have a templating system. This is a really important concept. And what I mean by that is there's a pattern to this. When you bring employees on, typically you're doing all the same tasks for each new employee. So as an organization, you need a fluid and flexible way to define those templates, those standard tasks that need to be done every time, and also to provide those standard documents that all new employees must fill out. We need to facilitate that. Here's some requirements. We need to make sure email notifications are auto-generated and sent out. We need to make sure that this is comprehensive in its representation of the task. So make sure that everything's covered and that nothing can fall through the cracks. And we want transparency. And what I mean by that is if a task doesn't get done, we want it to be really obvious that it didn't get done, who's supposed to do the task, that type of thing. We want to identify any things that are hanging out there to stop the process from getting totally done. We want to have some good progress indicators to help us see how far along we are with onboarding an employee. And with the templating system, we want those tasks to get generated automatically when we start the process for the new employee. We would not want to have to manually create all of the tasks every time. And then we want to have a nice, clean, clear division between employee tasks and team tasks, meaning the staff at your business. So like I said earlier, the employee has a list of tasks that they've got to get done, and then your staff has a list of tasks that they need to do to get your new employee on board and all set. All right, so enough with the silly PowerPoint slides. Let's jump right into it. We're going to go into SharePoint. Okay, I'm in SharePoint Online. I've got a modern view here, and I'm on my dashboard that I've created, and I've called this Onboarding Home. And what we're going to do first is look at the overall architecture, if you will, of this solution. And what I think you'll like is that it's a simple concept. There are three main lists that comprise this solution. The first is what I've named task lists. Task list is the main record which is going to list all of the tasks that need to get done for an employee. So we're going to dive into that in just a second, but these represent the individual employees getting onboarded. That's our dashboard for task lists. And in task lists, of course, we have the individual tasks. So we have a many-to-one relationship. Each task list gets many, many tasks. And these are the individual things that our staff and the employee will check off as they're working through and getting things done, going through that onboarding process. And then naturally, a significant part of HR activities is getting documents signed and completed. That type of thing is most definitely going to be an important part of an onboarding system. And for that, we have a documents list, and we have a foldering system, which is handled automatically. And I'll show you the automation behind that. So for each new employee, we want a folder of documents automatically generated. We want to have the forms that they're going to complete, the documents, and then as they complete them, we want to have a nice, easy way for them to drag and drop those into SharePoint as they get those complete and check off those tasks. So those three lists are really important: the task lists, the tasks themselves, and the documents. And these things all fit together as part of our solution. The other part to this is the overall build of the system, and it's the template management. And this is where it's so very important as an organization for you to have the flexibility to define whatever that template is of the various things that you do in your organization whenever a new employee gets started. And that can change and evolve over time, and you need a good way to manage that. So the most important in the first part of that are default tasks. So what this is a list of tasks that we know every employee who comes on board with the organization is going to need to do every single time. I don't want to have to manually define these things with every new onboarding. I want the system to be smart enough to auto-generate all of these tasks for me. So in this form, I define some very simple things. I define the type of task, whether it's an employee task or a team task, who it's going to be assigned to, who it's assigned by, and then how many days are needed to get that done. Some things need to happen right away. They could be a prerequisite for another task, or there may be more time to do that. It doesn't have to happen right away. So I'm defining those as standard tasks that are going to happen every time. So as you can see, that's a simple form. I can just add these to this list or remove these to the list, and it becomes a templated set of tasks that will automatically be part of the process, which we'll see in just a minute. And then the other part about it are all those standard documents, the insurance forms, the W-9, the enrollment for 401k, all of those long list of documents that we've all got to fill out when we're starting with an organization. You can upload those into these folder, and through our automated process, you can make these get copied to each individual employee folder so they're sitting at the ready so those employees can just click on a link and grab them and go. All right, so that's how everything's stored. We're actually going to start to go through the process, and I hope it'll click and make a lot more sense as I do that. I'm going to be the new employee because why not? So I'm putting my name in here, and this is my form. And I'm going to show you, this is put together using our Ultimate Forms form designer tool, which is easy and fun to work with. I think you'll love it. And I'm going to put in my manager, Vladi, and I just need to pick an employment start date. We'll say that I'm going to start on June 21st. And then I have an overall status for my onboarding. So I'm starting it, not started, but then as we work our way through the process, we can update that. So we say in progress. I hope you'll agree that's about as easy as it can get to start an onboarding. Notice at this stage, I'm not defining any tasks whatsoever. I'm simply entering this form to say we've got a new employee coming and it's Will Cooper. And I just hit save. And the cool part is I just set off a chain of dominoes in the background, and SharePoint's going to do all the work for me. We have workflow going, and SharePoint's been told to make that documents folder, to make all of those tasks, to go ahead and do all those things in the background so I don't have to waste my time doing those manual and repetitive tasks. So it's taking care of that. And if you notice my user interface, something just popped up onto the display. You see that there's a documents folder that just got generated and linked for me. So if I go into that documents folder, that's a brand new folder for my specific onboarding. And you'll see that if I go into the to be completed folder, it made a copy of those documents coming from my default documents folder. So that happened automatically. And what you'll notice if I go back to the task list is all the tasks were also auto-generated. Okay, so if I go through here, it's going to show a list of those. So let me go into the form. Okay, so it's working on the tasks. Let me go into this other record where they're already loaded. Okay, and so that's all those tasks you saw in the template, those get auto-generated. Now, on this screen, I've got a list of all of the onboarding tasks that need to be complete. So you can see there's two main types, either for the employee or for the team. And I've got a view selector I can use to help make that more focused. So if I just want to see the employee tasks, I can pick that and just see a filtered view of only those tasks. Or alternatively, if I'm looking more interested in the team tasks, Or if I just want to see my tasks that are assigned to me specifically, I can have a focused view just to look at the stuff that I care about. And then right next to that is a status indicator to tell me whether or not that got done. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and edit. And in here, I have a very simple interface. It just tells me who assigned it to me, when it was assigned, when's the due date, and what to do. I've got some notes and things in there. And it's pretty easy. I'm just checking it off. I say, yes, I got the insurance waiver done, complete. That updates that immediately. And I can go through each of my individual tasks like that. You'll see that's very fast to do. I just say, yep, that's done too. And that's how both your staff and the employee can interact with the system to indicate progress. And then on the main dashboard, we've got some cool user interface features. We've got progress bars that help to show where we are in the progress. So under employee progress, you can see I now have 2 done, and it knows how many there are in total. So that green bar will continue to fill up as I get my tasks done. And then the other part to that, which is nice, is we have a indicator showing whether or not we're on time or overdue. So I have a green circle. That's for my tasks that are more than 2 days out. If they're under 2 days, then I get a yellow warning triangle, and then it would be a red flag for anything overdue. So this is a really easy way to track down stuff that's hanging out there that needs to get done. So those are some of the key features. And then what I can also do, of course, in addition to the default tasks and documents and things like that, on a case-by-case basis, I can add additional tasks here. So that was really just to streamline and get the ball rolling. But naturally, I can go in here and say, put in a new task very quickly. So I can say, this is an employee task, and I can decide who it's going to be assigned to and who it's going to be assigned by. So we'll say that's to me. And I can adjust the due dates, that type of thing. I'll leave those things the way they want. Might notice something going on. I have a dynamic header at the top of the screen, just making for a better UI. It just titles with the main part of the task. Please go to your documents library, download manual. Okay, so you can see defining additional tasks is a very simple and easy thing for me to do. And then I can just save out of there like that. Okay, so I can work my way through, and it's easy for any of these employee onboardings to see exactly where we are in the process, to see any tasks that would be overdue, incomplete, and we can see exactly what's left to get done. So nothing's going to fall through the cracks. That hits one of our key requirements. Okay, another thing that's going to be important to us is we have to have email notifications, right? So in fact, this system bombards me with email notifications because I've got a whole bunch of things to do. So this is what my inbox looks like from a few minutes ago when I did this. New task this, new task that, new task that. All these things have been assigned to you. So people are going to get a little poke to let them know they need to get that done. And we want to make that email look nice, which we can do with the email formatting tool. So this just kind of has its own brand, if you will. It says onboarding tasks, finish orientation checklist for the employee. Will Cooper has been assigned to you. Please work on your task and update progress. That item will take me directly there. Okay, so that's important. We get those automatic email notifications. And then another thing, we don't want to overwhelm people or have them looking at things that don't apply to them. So we have these special My views. So My onboarding would be one of two things. As an employee, it would be just the record where I'm assigned as the employee, but it can also mean I'm the manager. I have a special interest in this. And so if I'm bringing somebody new onto my team, I'd like to see a list of any employees that are onboarding on my team. Okay, so that's a simple idea for the My Onboarding. And then likewise with the my tasks, my open tasks, maybe I don't want to go into all those forms and everything. I just want to jump to my tasks and see if there's anything I'm supposed to do that I didn't get done yet. So if I go to my open tasks, I can actually jump directly to the task list, and it just shows any open tasks that I haven't done. So that way I'm not going to forget about it or lose it amongst all these different records in the interface. I can simply go to the list and see only the tasks that I've got to get done. Maybe there's 4 or 5 different employees coming on board at the same time. Could get overwhelming, but this consolidates that, makes that easy to understand. Okay, so that's the front end. You guys kind of see how that works and how we have a system for everybody to interact. So the real question is, what does it take to get this set up and working your system? How do you manage and design the system for your own organization? And I'll show you how that works. So if I go to task lists, and once you have the Ultimate Forms app in your environment, you'll have special options in this top ribbon menu. So I'm going to the Ultimate Forms design screen. The screen you see is the main hub for all the different settings and functions and features, of which there are a lot. It's a little overwhelming the first time you look at it. I can tell you the thing you're going to care about first and care about the most is the Form Designer tool, because that's the first thing you're going to do when you're building your solution is set up your custom form. This is an awesome tool because you don't have to do any coding. The drag and drop style interface, you can just drag the fields right onto the form, and I just could pick from simple configuration menus. Like I can drop a box in here, container, I can say I want that to have 2 columns. I can drag a field inside of that, and then I could do something like add some styles. I don't have to do a style sheet. I don't have to do any code like that. I can just pick from a simple color swatch. I can pick another color here for the border, and all of this stuff I'm just doing real time on the fly without having to have any special expertise. So I give it a little padding, and then real time in the interface, you see everything changed. So what you see is what you get. So I can make all these adjustments, set things up to look how I want, and make sure everything's as I want it. So, and also what I can do is I can have special rules. Like I have a field down here, I want to pass the employee value into that. So I can create simple dynamic rules to pass data between different fields or show or hide different sections of the form, that type of thing. And then here I have that this is what is called an associated task list. That's the repeating table that you saw the tasks. So setting up the form is easy, but probably more importantly, it's fun. It's a really enjoyable experience. You can make it look however you want to, and it's something completely absent in SharePoint. So it's really a huge game changer in terms of things that you might like to do. Yeah, I'm going to lose my work. That's fine. Okay, another key component, we talked a little bit about the workflow, the automation, the things we want to happen automatically when we put in new employee, and we want to have those tasks automatically get generated. We want to have documents automatically get copied. We want to have folders automatically get created. The way that we're able to do that is through our actions. So just as important as the custom form and the UI is being able to set up this logic and business rules in the background to make those things happen automatically. Now, in the past, that could be a very daunting project, especially for those of you who have heard of or ever had to use SharePoint Designer to do workflow. It was really a pretty painful process. And now with this, it's just so much simpler and easier. You just come into the actions and define a simple trigger system. We'll review a couple of those. I have an action to create an item. I need to create a documents folder for the employee whenever that new task list gets generated. And I simply tell it on the new form, I want you to create an item, and then I just need to give it a little bit of information. I tell it to create that folder in the documents library. I just told it the content type is folder, and then to give it a name. It's just going to give it the special field that I have called task list ID. That's what TLID is. That's all there is to it. It's going to automatically make that folder for me. And then I had some subfolders, if you noticed, inside of that. I had a completed folder, a to be completed folder. So I just kind of continue along that same trail, and these chain of actions will always fire in sequence. So I just say TLID/complete, and there you go. You're going to get a subfolder there. So I can just simply build this list of automation tasks in the background, and SharePoint is diligently going to do all those things for me automatically when that gets created. All right, and then remember we have those default documents. Well, how do those get from my template library into that target folder, the to be completed folder? I have this copy item action. Really easy to set up. All that I had to do was to tell it on the new form, go to make a copy from this list, the default documents library, and I gave it a silly rule. I said items where ID not equals 0. That was another way for me to tell SharePoint every one of them. So everything in that folder is going to get copied, and then I just needed to tell it the target. Notice there's no coding in here. I'm just picking drop-downs and configuration options. I said, I want you to put that into the documents library in this specific folder path. So that's how we get it into that new folder that just got created in the previous step. Very simple to set up. And then in my UI, you'll notice I have that documents link because I want to have them be able to just click from the form and go right to the folder. I wouldn't want them to have to browse over there on their own, that type of thing. Then I've got some other updates for progress bars and that type of thing. So actions are cool. They're really accessible, fast and easy to set up. And just about any type of thing you would otherwise manually have to do in SharePoint, you can do that through automation and actions. Email alerts we mentioned, I'm going to show you how ridiculously easy that one was to do. At the moment, I just have one email alert for the system. It's in the task list. Hold on. Let me switch to the tasks list. And I'll show you the rule for that. Okay, I'm in tasks. I'll go to email alerts, and I want to see just this list. All I had to do in that case was say, whenever a new task gets generated, I want that to go to the assigned to. In fact, our support team guy just sent me a message on chat. He asked me if I was testing the onboarding system because I put in some test records, and he's wondering why I was getting assigned all these things. So that was kind of funny. Okay, so this is whoever is in that column assigned to. I just had to pick that. Notice again, I'm not doing any programming. I'm just doing simple drop-down menus and checkbox selections. I say when the item's added, and then in here, I just make a simple template. And to do that, it took me only a couple minutes, and I was able to put that fancy little image in there, did a little bit of highlighting, I configured the subject line, and it's going to insert that information auto-generate. And that's the entirety of everything I had to do to make it where everybody's automatically going to be notified when tasks get assigned to them. So really fun, easy to work with, and you can define email alerts for any kind of situation that might come up. So that's really the entirety of the back end. There's really nothing more to it as far as what I had to do to create this entire onboarding system. It really was just those three functional areas. But as you can see from these menus, we have lots of other choices. One of the simplest and easiest is our color choice field, where you can map icons to different things to have indicators. And then another thing is I have those progress bars. I'll let you see how those were set up. That was just with the indicator field. And well, this is for tasks. This is on time. I'm doing a little check. We'll show you how it works. I have to give it ranges. So it can dynamically look at whatever the current date is. I said if it's basically gone past today, then we get the red circle. If it's today plus 3, the yellow, and then if we're over that, we're good. We're green. So that's all I had to do. Just these really simple setups. Okay, so that's really the main things I wanted to show you as far as that interface and also the back end. Let's talk a little bit about how you can check this stuff out and start to play around, because that's the fun thing. And if nothing else happens today or after this presentation, this is the thing I truly and sincerely hope that you'll do. If you go into our site, infowisesolutions.com, and click on this button right in the middle of the page, try now for free. And you can, in 2 minutes, go to register now, fill in your email and information, and without having to do any setup or anything in your own environment, we'll create a site for you on the Infowise tenant. It has the full functionality. You can try out all of the tools that I just showed you. You can play around with it. You could use one of these templates that's already loaded, and you can get right into Form Designer in just a couple minutes and start playing around with everything I showed you with no delay whatsoever. Outside of that, we do offer a free trial for installation in your own environment. We provide all the instructions for that. It is the entire functionality. You can install it into your SharePoint environment, and then you can do a full evaluation. That's just in our getting started section. Another option to you, if you want to talk more specifically about the needs of your organization, you think you may need a little bit more help or you need to learn more about the product, you can get a demo scheduled with us. We'll have a one-on-one conversation with you to talk about what you're doing in SharePoint, and you can get more answers to try and figure out everything that you want before you would adopt those tools. So all those resources are there for you on the Infowise site. Another thing that we have, which is really great, is our training. This provides you a really good way to ramp up and learn how to do all these cool things that I showed you quickly and comfortably. We offer a free training video, which is called Kickstart Training. And if you go to our training page, you can watch that. It's linked at the bottom. Click on the watch button. We have a more formal training, which you could sign up for, which is foundation training. I really recommend that. If you do end up picking up the product, that's lab-based training for up to 5 hours. And then in our tutorial section, there's well more than 100 articles in here explaining all the various aspects of our product, how to use our tools, everything that you want to do. The first time you get in there, the thing I'd really encourage you to look at is the Getting Started section. That includes the link to the Kickstart training. And then there's simple how-tos for people who've never done anything at all with our product. It tells you just where to click and exactly what to do. It's the hello world of Ultimate Forms, if you will. It's real basic baby steps to get you going. So please do take a look at that. All right, I did promise that I would do a short giveaway, and I think you guys have been patient enough that we're ready to do that. So we're going to use the questions interface. And what I'd like you to do at this time is give me a guess from 1 to 100. Give me one guess. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I'm going to pick whoever's closest to my number at the end of that time. I may not even give you 30 seconds, but go ahead and make one guess for me, and I'm very shortly going to pick a winner. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we do have a winner. I've got Paul Flint with the exact number that I had in mind. Paul, what I need you to do is send me an email with your shirt size and your address. You can send that to willc@infowisesolutions.com. If you guys just need to reach out to us in general, that can just go to sales@infowisesolutions.com. We're done with our main presentation today. However, we're going to go ahead and stay on the chat to answer your questions and interact with you guys. So don't go away if you want to get more questions answered and that type of thing. But that concludes our main presentation for our SharePoint onboarding system. Hope you liked that. We'll have that loaded up onto YouTube later today. And thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. Really enjoyed it and look forward to seeing you again.